Same time, it's like, yeah, I'm being vulnerable, but it's like from in heart and my humanness is in pain. Be sad, like heaven, like we have hope. Like, okay, hello, welcome to SOMOS a podcast. I'm Angelita, your host, period. I'm actually so excited that you're here. I can't believe this is SOMOS a podcast, like finally happening and coming to fruition. Today, this episode is going to be all about why I started a podcast, who the heck is Angelita, and yeah, like what to expect for this. Cause yeah. Anyway, so I have had a dream to start a podcast since college time. Like back in the day. I've been out of college for 4 years now, which is kind of crazy to think about. Anyways, in college, I really loved listening to podcasts, especially like business motivational podcasts. And then all the like silly, goofy pop culture podcasts started popping off. And now I'm into those too. So this is not going to be pop culture-y, but it is going to be like silly, goofy girl because that's just like who I am, kind of sometimes. But this is going to be a little bit deeper, and I feel like we're going to go into like cultural identity, religion, like God, like all those things. Also dance, like I'm an artist, a dancer, dance teacher. I'm getting into the fitness world. So honestly, this is just going to be a place for me to just chit chat and tell you about randomness and lessons that I've learned along the way. I feel like I've gone through so much healing and processing and like all these things within like my college years. So like, yeah, I don't know. I'm not gonna like make this therapy, but I am gonna make this like, okay, let's like be for real. I have just like been having on my heart and like a calling from God, to make fruit out of like any negativity or anything like hard, like any type of hardship that I've had in my life, make fruit out of it. And just to share the glory of God and how he truly does heal and how he really is amazing and perfect, and we're never alone because he's with us. So I also just want to share that and just like my experiences and my religion. Like I'm Catholic. I grew up Catholic. And yeah, I just want to share more about like my, yeah, all of that. And in that same like realm of things is inspiration. Like that's really what I'm here to do. We're here to inspire you to just like live the life that you're meant to live and go out, like feel inspired, feel motivated, feel less alone, because yeah, like the world could be a little bit scary out here, So I have just like random lessons or things that I've done and experienced that I kind of want to share it about. Okay, let's actually get into SOMOS. Let's get into SOMOS. Like, what is SOMOS? Why are we calling everything SOMOS? Why is it SOMOS a podcast? Like, let's get into why I started SOMOS. And we're going to get deep. So if we're going to talk about grief and things like that. So if this is like not your topic or you're not into like wanting to listen to grief or anything like that, like listen to the next one. But we're going to get a little bit deep right now. Okay. So when I was in college, one of my cousins passed away. And when I say those words, it feels very like words, but it doesn't express the actual depth and pain and hurt and grief that you feel inside of your heart and your soul. Like there's no words that can describe that feeling. And if you don't know about grief or like you've never been through it, it's really hard to like understand it. And I had no idea it was like this. So yeah. He was amazing and he brought light and love and just like joy and just made everybody feel so special. And I really love him so much and I owe so much to him. And he's such a motivation for me to like continue to uplift people. And yeah, he has actually been the inspiration of what SOMOS is and like our company and everything. So yeah, I just want to like take an honor and like a moment to honor my cousin and his life. And I just want to thank God for allowing us to know him and be with him for so long. Well, actually, like not that long. Like he was pretty young when he passed. It's like so sad to actually think about and to even say, you know? But again, like my words, like do not even like I'm smiling because I'm a little bit nervous talking about this stuff, but I like words can actually not describe the depth and like the feeling that you feel in your heart. So I don't want that to go unnoticed because I have never felt heartbreak the way that I did when we went through that. So this was in 2020, early, before COVID actually. And his passing was such a shock. It was very, very hard for our family. So then COVID happened, and honestly for me, COVID was a blessing because it allowed for me to like stay home and grieve and be present with my family. I was in college, but I commuted the whole time except my senior year, but I commuted. So I lived with my parents for like my college experience. I'm also Mexican, so I feel like that's really normal to like stay living with your parents until you get married, but that's like a different topic and like another thing that I want to go into because I did just get married last June. So and it's April, but it's going to be 1 year since I got married. That's crazy. Anyways, I will go into that a little bit further in like whatever another time. But I was living with my parents. We would go on walks, and it was just a very fruitful time to be home because I was down bad. I had like accounting, and I was like in business school, dance major. Like there was just a lot going on. And so I was able to, during COVID, take everything online and just like be with my family. And I really like dove into improv and like dance at home and just like walking, nature, and all these things. So it's been a journey of healing and grieving, and it's like a constant journey. Like I feel like people with grief understand, and there's obviously like levels and different like aspects of grief, but yeah, actually, I don't know. I don't know what to say, but everybody has their own timeline and their own way of processing things. Then 2 years later, I was a senior in college, and I didn't realize how absolutely hurt and how much like pain I still really had in my heart. 2 years later, I'm like, it's been 2 years. Like, why do I not feel better? Why am I still feeling so sad? And I thought that I was like fine, if that makes sense. But we went somewhere and I actually felt so much sadness because it reminded me of him, and I started like bawling. I did not know I had that amount of tears to give. In that moment, I was like, whoa, I'm like sobbing, crying. Eddie's my husband, and he is the best. And so I was just like sobbing like in his arms, and he kind of like knew what I was like going through and stuff. So he was just like embracing me. And then I was like, wow, if I am this artist that like dances all the time, I had already made like this like film that I thought was like kind of like releasing this and like, you know, stuff like energy, like actually, I don't know, like kind of expressing where I was at and like what I felt. And in reality, I didn't know that it had all this like depth and hurt and like stuff in me. So then I started to think about all of my family, and like we're Mexican. Excuse me, we're Mexican, Mexicanos. Mexicanos. I don't know why I said it like that. And most of my family's guys, like most of them are men on my dad's side. Literally, I have 4 brothers. Yeah, it's just like so many dudes. And I started thinking about them, and I'm like, if I'm a girly girl that cries all the time, that is an artist, that expresses herself, I feel like I go to God for everything. Like I'm journaling, I'm doing all these things, and I'm like faking it till I make it out here. And I go to this place, I'm like sobbing. I didn't even realize that I had all this like pain and hurt that I needed to cry out. How must they feel? Like, how do my brothers feel? How does my dad feel? How does my mom feel? How do, like, all of my family, like his immediate family, like, how do we feel? inside. Like we're acting, like cordial, like as you have to continue living life, right? But it was just like so heavy on my heart. And I had this thought of doing, and then I listened to this song. It's called Dos Almas. It is the most beautiful song ever. I think it's by Kevin Carl. Go listen to it. It is beautiful. So I listened to that song and it just it just like felt so impactful. And it reminded me of my cousin and my grandpa, who both are in heaven now. And I was like, oh my gosh, I want to do a solo to this song. And I want it to be with my family. Like I only want my family to be there. So I have all these thoughts and like everything. And so I go and I sit my family down, like all my brothers and my parents. And I was like, I have this idea. And they're like so used to me having ideas and like being like, guys, I want to do this. Anyways, so I sit them down and I'm like, hey guys, I have this idea. I want to do a dance show, an in-studio showing at my college. And it will be free. And I just want it to be y'all, like just our family. Like, what do you think about that? Do you think it would be read well? Maybe before my graduation party, like some family's going to be coming into town. Like, what should we do? And my parents and my brothers were like, yes, like we're totally down. And I was like, maybe we can incorporate things that my grandpa said, stuff like that our cousin would say, like just so many different things that were like coming into our minds. And I was telling my dad, and I would love to interview him for this too. Honestly, I want to interview like all my family and just like friends, and, like people in Eddie, and just like, I want this to be a space where I just document who we are now. And yeah, I just like feel like it's so special to look back at things and be like, oh wow, I didn't know I thought like that, or like things like that. So anyways, I was telling my dad that, or actually, sorry, my dad is very, wait, what am I saying? My dad says a lot of dichos. Is that how you say it? Like dichos, basically like phrases and poetry that older generations have like passed down in life. And a lot of them came from my grandpa. And he would say all these dichos growing up. Like he'd be like, oh, one of my favorites is, deja que el grano muera. Si Dios resucitó, también resucitará el grano, or like whatever. Which I think is so beautiful. Like basically saying, dude, I need to get my dad on here because I feel like I'm butchering this, but like in my heart, I know what it means. But basically, wait, let me translate it for real. It means let the grain die, because if God resurrected, then so will it. And I feel like that's such a beautiful saying. Anyways, so my dad would always, like growing up, like tell us these different dichos and sayings and stuff that my grandpa would say. So I told him, and I never met my grandpa. My grandpa passed when my dad was young. But I've always felt connected to my grandpa because my dad would keep him alive through these dichos, or like, oh, like he would do this, or he would say this and stuff like that. So I told him, I was like, I would love for this to be a showing that represents our cousin and also my grandpa, and to just like make it a safe space for our family to like cry and like feel their feelings, because we all know that feeling inside. Like we all feel it as a unit. And so I would love for us to just be able to like provide that space. And really, I was just thinking about like my Mexican male family members, like all the men in my family that are, they're like Mexicans are pretty machista, and like they try to just like hold it in and hold it strong and just like make sure that they're like providing. And not that like machismo and all that, like I can actually go into that in a whole different podcast, but I just wanted to provide a space for like these men in my life who I know, and women. Like we act so strong. Our culture is so strong, so vibrant, so amazing, so exciting. But like there's also pain in life, and it's okay to like cry. So anyways, they were like totally on board to do this dance and to do this showing. And I went to my college and I asked them, I was like, hey, could I do an in-studio showing private with just my family, and like that's it? And and they were like totally like yes, and they knew what I was going through, and it was actually so kind of them to be so generous to like offer the space and like allow me to bring like my family and stuff into the space. So that was like an amazing showing. And as I started creating the solo, I then felt inspired to do a whole show because I was like, well, if I'm already doing a solo, might as well like do this. So I had already started my thesis for my senior project, and it was about, I think, 10 to 12 minutes, that work. And it was inspired by like grief and, actually like not really grief. Whenever I guess it was, but anyways, I go on so many tangents. It's actually so silly. But basically, my senior project was called Perspectiva Humana. And it was kind of going off of humanness. And I felt like when I was going through the process of grieving, I realized how human we were and like how much my human heart hurts and how much I am in pain, while also like my soul is rejoicing because I know that there's a heaven. I know that we have a God, and I know that I will one day be able to see my cousin again. I know that one day I'll be able to meet my grandpa and all these other loved ones that I have in my family that I'll be able to meet. So my human heart and my humanness is in pain, but like my soul rejoices because we do have a good God. Like Christ resurrected, Jesus Christ opened the gates of heaven. Like we have hope. Like there is hope, and there is like this, like esperanza, which means hope. So that's what my senior thesis was, Perspectiva Humana, which means like human perspective or humanness. And then the solo called Dos Almas, and it was really just honoring my cousin and my grandpa and how like that longing, feeling, and desire and stuff. And then I really wanted to do a new work with, I think it was like 4 or 5 of my closest friends in college. We had all danced together for so long, and it was a collaborative work, and we would just like rehearse later in the afternoon, like after all of our classes, literally like 8 or 9 p.m. It was so amazing, and it actually was like very collaborative. Like I had the thoughts, I had all these things, and then they're like, oh well, we can, and it was such a great process. So I talked to them, I was like, guys, I have no money, I have literally nothing, but I want to do this show. So they were like, yes, Mimi, like we're totally down. I was like, it's gonna be collaborative, this and that. So it was super awesome, and we like do this whole show. I asked my college again, I was like, is there a way for us to be able to do an in-studio showing? It'll be free, so like nothing. I feel like once you put like money into it, sometimes like it's a little bit harder to reserve things and like whatever. So I was like, you know what? I don't need no money. I just like want to do this for fun. All the dancers and artists that are a part of this want to be a part of it. And then I asked one of my friends to like do a photo shoot for us and make sure that like the promo and stuff would be good. So like I went like all out, and it was so fun. And I felt so grateful that I was around so many amazing artists and people and just like genuinely good-hearted humans that wanted to support this idea that I had. So the work was called Ser. And the company that I had thought that I wanted to start was Etapas de Ti, because I kept thinking about how we have different stages of our life and like different layers and stuff. Etapas de Ti means like, etapas, I guess, is like stages of you, but like, or layers of you. I don't know. I'm not a good translator. It was going to be Etapas de Ti, and then it was called Ser. And Ser means to be, like being. A being, one individual. So it was super awesome. We ended up having like 80 people come out to like the in-studio showing. It was donation based. I actually ended up having like funds to be able to pay the dancers, and it was super, like it was literally like not that much money. It was like so minimal, teeny tiny like showing or whatever, but it was really, really rewarding and awesome to like see that like people show up and show out. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It made me feel very grateful. And it was just like a bunch of my friends, a bunch of like the dancers' friends, like our parents, our family, and like, you know, like other colleagues that went to like our college and stuff. So it was super fun. So that happened, and I felt so fulfilled, so excited. And also, I did this show with my family called Ser, and I just want to say that it's something that I hold so near and dear to my heart, because I don't think I've ever danced that vulnerably in front of anyone. And I don't think I've ever danced that vulnerably in front of my family, and for them to like truly see what I felt inside of my heart, and then also to see them be able to process and to have a safe space to just like cry, to tear up, to just like have a moment of silence. And what's so beautiful about dance that I love so much, and like just going to concerts, is like that moment of not being on your phone and like being in the blackout. Like, I just love that so much. Like, it makes me feel so happy and at peace. And it gives you like a moment to just kind of reflect and process whatever maybe on your mind, or like whatever you just saw and witnessed and stuff. So yeah, it was really, really special. And I feel very grateful that my family was able to see me dance like that, and also to just like experience their own emotions and feelings. And yeah, it was truly an amazing time. So yeah, I feel like I'm kind of going all over the place. So basically, I do my solo show with my family. Then the next weekend was my like that other showing that I did in college. And then it was like over. Like, I graduated. I was like, okay, I have a different job. And I was just like working and like living my life. And during that job, like probably fall time, I start feeling so down and just like not feeling good. And like, okay, I feel like I could be doing more. I want a little bit more in my life. And also, like, post-grad can be pretty difficult because you're going through so many emotions and feelings, and like needing to like process change. Like, I feel like change is just like hard. And living and being with my family, and like the traditional household, I just felt like so many different things at the same time. I started to think about Sid and think about starting a company, actually. Like, Sid and Itapaceti was kind of like a start to it, but I didn't feel fully convinced by those names, mainly because Sid is being, which is like individual, and I don't like want to promote that only. I think it's important to be a Sid, like we're all beings, but I wanted it to also be like community. Etapaceti is also very individual. I had all these other names and things that like kept coming and going and whatever. And then SOMOS came to mind, and it was perfect. Like, literally, SOMOS. We are SOMOS. Ah! So I started thinking about it, and then SOMOS came, and I was like, yep, this is the name of the company. Like, SOMOS, we are. And I felt very inspired. I felt very grateful. And SOMOS to me is very deep because it means we are. And I've always been really connected to my ancestors and my loved ones, and like everyone that came before me. Like, I would not be the girl, the woman, the person that I am today without them. Literally, I wouldn't. And I find that so exciting and so beautiful, and it makes me feel very inspired that like we're not alone. SOMOS, we are. Like, even us, like I'm literally sitting by myself in a room, and yet we're still connected. Like, we're still finding a way to be together, and I find that very beautiful and inspiring and all the things. But yeah, so SOMOS is the name of our company, and that's like the inspo, feeling connected to our ancestors and like the people that came before us, connected to God and our purpose on this earth, because we're not alone. We are one with God. And then also in a dance sense, we are dancing together, and even when I'm dancing a solo, the audience is part of SOMOS. Like, we are all together. We're all part of SOMOS. Like, I am doing this for myself, but I'm also doing it for you to feel something and for you to experience this like community aspect and like whatever you're going through. So I think it's so beautiful. Like, I would always like say in SOMOS, a dance company, in our rehearsals and things, like, we are already whole. Like, I am already whole. We are here, right? Like we have different parts that like connect and make us ourselves. Like we have so many different multifaceted, amazing minds and creativity and just like so many different parts of ourselves that like make us who we are, which is so fun and amazing. And then also like once you step into a room and like I'm especially like with dance, like specifically with dance, actually in general, but specifically talking about dance, whenever you go into the room, then we all are the class. Like we are all in this space together making the whatever the thing that you're making, right? So yeah, that's what SOMOS is. And I just want to continue to inspire, to share good vibes, to help you feel happy and to feel more connected with God, and to feel connected to your ancestors and just like so many amazing people and things. And I just want you to know that even if you maybe feel alone or lonely, like I have a bunch of family, we're Mexican, like la 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 la, and maybe like you actually don't have that. Like maybe your family's small, or maybe you are disconnected with them, or like maybe you have a big family but like you don't feel connected to them or anything. Like any moment that you feel lonely or alone, I just want to remind you that the earth is here, the air is here for you. Like you were here for a purpose and on purpose, and God made you specifically to be here, and you have a purpose on this earth. And if the purpose is to just be, then just be, like it's amazing. So sometimes I feel really lonely or like misunderstood, and like we all just want to be understood and we all want to be heard and we all want to be loved. And maybe I'm not getting that from like the people around me. And usually it's just because like I'm in a mood or I'm just like not in a place like open up vulnerably with like the people around me. So I go to nature and like literally just sit, look at how the wind moves the trees, like how a little butterfly or a ladybug or even a yucky bug, like they're all alive too. Like we're not alone, and even the trees are alive. The wind is like moving, and the water, if you're near water or a lake or a river or whatever, like just go see it and like see how beautiful and peaceful it is. Or even my favorite thing ever is the moon. Like I love the moon, mi luna. And just like seeing the moon and like the sun and the sunset, like finding the beauty in those like small moments, because truly God is giving you those moments of beauty to like witness and see. And I think that's really special because, sometimes you know what? So I love taking pictures and videos, but sometimes I'm like, you know what? This is not meant for a picture or video. This is meant for my eyes only. Like I just need to sit down and embrace this like beautiful moment of whatever it is, right? So it's just a reminder that you are not here alone. And if you ever feel lonely or feel unwell or just, anything, take a deep breath, go outside, even just like looking out the window and be like, oh, like I'm not alone. And these like beautiful trees or whatever, like are amazing. And even if like you can't get to nature, like look at the architecture around you. Like, oh my gosh, like somebody decided to paint this room white, or like somebody else was here. And yeah, I just find that really inspiring, and I feel like I just like blabbered for a long time, but that's all I want to say for like the first episode of SOMOS, the podcast. We're going to continue talking about dance and things of culture, religion, Mexican bicultural identity. I'm Mexicana that was born and raised in Georgia. So yeah, like I feel like my perspective can relate to a lot of bicultural perspectives too. But yeah, and also like, I don't know, this is also a little bit scary because like I'm being vulnerable online, you know what I mean? So, but then at the same time, it's like, yeah, I'm being vulnerable, but it's like for fruit and for good. So all I want to share is positivity and inspire you. The camera looks so funny. Anyways, all I want to do is inspire and to send good vibes, good energy. I hope that you're having an amazing, blessed day. And I will see you at the next podcast. Okay, Somos the podcast. Angelita ends this here, boy. Okay, blessings. Ciao.